Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel for another hero guide. In today's guide, we are going to be talking about Groot. If you're someone who loves crowd control, setting up traps, and outlasting your opponent, then Groot is the hero for you. Let's dig into his abilities, strengths, weaknesses, and strategies to dominate your matches. Before we get started, make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on for my next guide for Captain America. Alright, let's start with Groot's toolkits. Groot is all about walls, traps, and sustainable defense. His abilities are designed to protect his team while keeping enemies in check. Starting off with his passive, Groot's passive allows his walls to gain bonus effects when they're in an awakened state. This adds a layer of strategy in how you use his Ironwood and Thornlash walls. For his normal attacks, Groot launches vine projectiles that deal slow but solid range damage. He also has a melee attack that is a 3-hit combo. The third attack in the combo knocks enemies into the air. This could be great for interruptions or creating space for your allies. For his first ability is a Spore Bomb. Groot launches a Spore Bomb that explodes on impact, dealing AoE damage. The explosion splits into smaller bombs for added AoE effects. Use this for clearing groups of enemies or setting up pressure. His next ability is his Ironwood Wall. This wide wall has a 700 HP shield and blocks enemy movement and projectiles. If awakened, Groot gains bonus HP up to 250 for damage dealt by him or nearby allies. This wall is perfect for obstruction or protecting objectives. His third ability is the Thornlash Wall. It's a smaller wall with 2 charges and both of them having 200 HP. Like the Ironwood Wall, it also blocks movement and projectiles, but when awakened, it lashes out and attacks nearby enemies every 0.5 seconds. Use it offensively to pressure foes or to control tight spaces. And lastly, for his ultimate, Strangling Prison, Groot shoots out a vine cluster that pulls enemies to the center, roots them in place, and deals damage every 0.5 seconds for 3.5 seconds. This ultimate is incredible for turning fights into your favor. Use it to lock down enemies before your allies unleash their damage. Groot plays incredibly well with a few specific allies who can take advantage of his defensive nature. First one being Rocket Raccoon and Jeff the Landshark. These allies can ride on Groot's back and gain a 10% damage reduction. This makes Groot an ideal frontline support for them while they deal damage and or heal from safety. His next synergy is with Thor. Thor's high damage and mobility play perfectly with Groot's crowd control. He can dive the enemy team while Groot locks them in place with his walls, and the ultimate allows Thor to better land some key abilities. For his last synergy is Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange works great as a second tank in the team. Both Groot and Strange combined create a great combo of crowd control and defense. Strange's shields plus your walls act as a great barrier against a comp of enemies. Also, both your enemies can complement one another. Both are good for setups for your teams to easily land their ultimates as well. Now let's talk about Groot's strengths. His first one being crowd control. Groot's ultimate and walls are unmatched in terms of controlling the battlefield. His next strength is with self-sustain. His awakened walls grant bonus health, making Groot incredibly durable. And his third key strength is game pace. Groot's ability to create barriers lets him control the pace of a matchup and set up traps in case enemies want to overpush. While Groot has his strength, he also has his weaknesses. His first one being lack of mobility. Groot has no dash or movement abilities, making him an easy target for high mobility or high damage targets. His second weakness is no shielding. While Groot can block with his walls, he offers no direct shielding capabilities to shield his allies or himself. His third weakness being weak against shields. A lot of Groot's attacks can easily be countered by enemy shields or bubbles, or even just bonus HP that can dust off most of Groot's crowd control effects and damage. For specific matchups, while Groot is strong, some heroes can give him a tough time. His first one being Hulk. Hulk can easily leap over Groot's walls and sustain through his abilities while applying pressure with his high damage and mobility. His second counterpick is Captain America. Cap's shield blocks Groot's ranged attacks and ricochets them back. Most notably, he can easily just ricochet Groot's ultimate back at him to trap your team and create a counter push. His mobility also allows him to evade Groot's traps and walls. His last counter matchup being Magneto. Magneto's shields make it hard for Groot to pin him down. Magneto also has his strong ultimate that can counter Groot's ultimate by absorbing it and just launching all that damage back at you. Now let's talk ability combos. Groot is all about layering his abilities to control the fight. For DPS, start with Ironwood Wall to block enemy escape routes. Then use your Thornlash Wall to apply some pressure with its awakened attacks. Follow up with a Spore Bomb for AoE damage and continue your awakened attacks with the walls. Finish with Strangling Prison in case you need to root enemies and secure the kills. Also be sure to throw in an auto attack in between each attack, that way your awakened walls can deal more DPS. For defense, place an ironwood wall between the enemy team and their backliners to block enemy projectiles. Use Thornlash Wall to attack enemies approaching the wall. Follow up with normal attacks to chip away at foes while staying safe. Reminder that Groot's passive allows him to have one of the highest DPS in the game thanks to his walls. Abuse this passive as much as possible to really tear down your enemies. Finally, let's cover some tips to play Groot as a pro. Number 1. Wall placement is key. Strategically place walls to block enemy escape routes or to protect your team. The awakened effects adds extra value, so use them whenever possible. Also take advantage of the fact that they can be placed at an angle to allow Groot to gain vantage points and high grounds. Keep in mind that while playing on maps that require moving the vehicle, if a wall is placed in its path, it will immediately destroy it, so be mindful when you place it. Number 2. Master your combos. Given that Groot has range attacks in a 3-hit melee combo, this allows him to easily weave in melees in between each auto attack. Like previously mentioned, doing this all nearby your walls will maximize your DPS. Number 3. Clutch with your ult. Strangling Prison is a game changer in teamfights. Use it when enemies are grouped up to maximize its impact. Groot's ultimate is easily one of the best in the game given its maximum potential, so even the slightest of impacts can still win you games. Number 4. Stay close to allies. Groot shines where he can support his team, so use your walls and traps to create opportunities for your damage dealers and supports. And number 5. Pace yourself. Since Groot has no true mobility, he has no way to get to where he wants to go in a quick manner. Do not overextend without some supports behind you, and be sure to set up walls to create space between point A and point B. And that is it for our Groot guide. Mastering this gentle giant requires patience and strategic thinking. If you have any questions or want to see more guides, let me know in the comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more hero breakdowns. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.